Yo, Hallownest Nation, shit. Okay, I made a recording, then I accidentally stopped it. I don't care enough to just, I don't want to open an editing program. I just want to upload my file directly. If I put it into an editing program, I have to export it, which takes like 20 to 30 minutes for an hour upload, even though I'm just combining two videos, so I'm doing it over. Yo, Hallownest Nation, yeah, fighting Radiance. Let's see how this goes. Yo-ho, ho-ho, hey. Oh, how can I do? How do I do? Ooh, scary. Anyway. Haven't practiced this fight enough yet. I can definitely feel that. I've been doing some practicing every now and again. Like, I just watch YouTube while playing it, just to get myself more used to it. And I think this first phase, okay, at least when I'm not talking, I'm more focused. I've pretty consistent at it, like reaching the second phase at least, or like the spiky floor thingy. The first phase, I'll call it, like, it has three parts. This normal part here, and then half spike floor, and then like the sword rain attack thingy. And then you begin second phase, which is the platform phase. Like here we're in the second part of the first phase. I pretty much always make it to this point so I don't die immediately, but I do often fuck up somehow here. Just make a mistake. It's the second phase that really scares me though. Like, look at that. Especially the sword rain, whenever the spikes are happening, that is just very dangerous. I'm not really sure how to properly tackle that. Maybe be more... shit, yeah. I was about to say more wary about the spikes. But as I was that, the swords came from the right and I didn't see it at the time. I'll do another one. I think it's fun. A lot of fun practicing this fight. It's very hard, very difficult. I'm thinking about maybe turning off my health binding just for practicing. Just so I get more experience with the second half, because I don't know, you saw like that. I made like 2 mistakes real quickly and then I lost. Whereas if I allow myself to have more HP, I can still make mistakes in the first part of the phase and then play further anyway, just continue despite failing. And then actually reaching the second phase, which I think I need a lot more practice in anyways. That is much more dangerous to me. In my opinion, like the platform phase, much harder. Oh, I did not see that. Fuck. Then again, I'm fucking up here. I think it's definitely because I'm talking. Yeah, no, this is... I would do better if I'm more focused, but whatever. Eesh. There we go, full health, oh yeah. Uh-oh. Ah, so hard when the floor is half spikes. I don't have a lot of place to like move to the right with. Shit. Oh, I did not. Ah, shit. Ah, okay. Sometimes the balls end up going behind the, getting like next to the yellow background part. Whatever. I made a mistake. Like, I fucked up there. Not good at the beginning. We'll see how I do in the Pantheon. Whoop. So, yeah. Having a good time. Woke up. Kind of difficult for me to keep reading my book. It's very boring, so I've been trying to look for some new mobile games to play. Because for the longest time I've just been playing Clash Royale and a bit of Bloons TD6. I played... Fuck, that was stupid. As I said, Bloons TD6. I've played Bad Piggies and stuff. Angry Birds Space is also really good. Unfortunately, also very monetized. But you know, it's just hard to find good mobile games because they're so fucking monetized. There's so many ads everywhere. It's kind of hellish like place to look for games. Most of them are just cash grabs, and I don't know. I just don't like that kind of games. I haven't spent money on any game except for buying it at all, except for Bad Piggies on my iPhone 6 when I was a child. I bought like a DLC stage with all the different, like this a huge ass map. Oh, what the fuck? Oops. Huge map, all the resources, a lot of fun. I've used that a lot. And that's the only form of DLC I've bought. Except for Rain World. The Rain World is a DLC that I also bought. I think DLCs are a bit of a different area though. What I'm really proud of not spending money on is any like cosmetics or any pay-to-win options. Like in Clash Royale, for example, I've never spent money on gems or bought any chests or done anything like that. I don't even really use gems in that game. I have a lot of gems just because I never use them. I've been a free-to-play player for a long time. And it's good fun. Clash Royale is a good game. Or at least it was until, well, it's actually been on a steady decline, getting worse and worse for a long time. Pretty much every update I feel it just kind of got worse. There's some new cards that are really interesting and I like. Most new changes are purely for the worse though. And so during this like newest update, I've just kind of decided, yeah, the game is not worth my time anymore. I've got to find a different mobile game to play. Because I don't really like watching TikTok or going through Reddit anymore. It fills me with a sense of hollowness. I'd rather play a game like Clash Royale just for 2 hours and spend 1 hour on TikTok. To me, it feels like TikTok's a bigger waste of time. A good alternative I found is reading a book. I like reading books on my phone, and I can spend like many hours on that over the course of a week. But I don't feel like I've wasted that time though. Because it's like in the same aspect of like seeing a good show, like watching a good show or like playing a good game. I'm just going through a good experience that I can remember and talk to people about, and it's nice. Whereas TikTok, a lot of the stuff I watch there is just kind of awful. I'm seeing some memes and I'm sending memes with my friends and stuff, but most of it is just kind of brain rot context that I'm never really gonna use for anything. Like, I don't know, you can make good references, but a lot of my friends like to talk about their memes that they've seen and they mention them and make references to it, which I guess is a good way to use your time spent on social media and TikToks, is by referring to friends about it, making connections that way. But in that same regard, whenever they mention like a meme, and I don't get it, they just show me the meme and it's funny. It's better for me to just have them filter through all the shitty content on TikTok and then show me the best ones every now and again. Like when I meet them, they say like, "Oh, have you seen this one?" And I'm like, "No." And they show me and it's fucking awesome. Hell yeah, I want to see that. I just don't want to look for it. Most of the content up there on TikTok is not good. If that makes sense, you know. I outsourced my TikTok watching to friends, so mostly when I use TikTok, I'm just kind of going through my messages, all the TikTok people have sent to me, and I watch those, which is really fun usually, and I can write back to that. But watching TikTok on my own, it just feels a bit dirty. I don't know, man. It's a bit of a strange feeling, because it's not like I'm an elitist, like anti-social media guy or anything like that. I just feel kind of depressed when I'm spending too much time on TikTok and Reddit as well. But if I'm gaming on my phone, like playing Clash Royale or reading a book, I don't feel that at all. I like it. It's just a time well spent. Despite, of course, not being much at all better. But, that aside, I'm looking for a new game to play, and I'm going through a few, watching it. I googled, like, best mobile games that aren't, like, monetized, like, cash grabs, and I found a few. One game I think is called Alto's Odyssey, like Atlo's Odyssey. It's about, like, a sandboarding game where, like, you play a character that's kind of gliding over a bunch of sandy terrain, making flips and tricks and stuff, jumping over boulders. A very beautiful game, coolish music, and fun gameplay. It's just a good game. Not very monetized at all. You see an ad every time you die. Not even every time, sometimes when you die. And runs can go like multiple minutes at a time where I'm just playing really well and having a blast. And then I lose and I see an ad and it's like, yeah, right, fair enough. I deserve that. That's my punishment for losing, is to have to watch an ad. But even then, I kind of usually just close the game when I lose because I rage quit. I don't even see the ad anyway. So yeah, I already played that for a while on my own before I started googling it, and it's a good game. Fuck, but it wasn't quite what I'm looking for. I do want to get something I can like requires less attention, because I was playing a lot of Clash Royale while doing something else. Like I'm watching a YouTube video on my phone, on my computer, and then on my phone I'm kind of just playing a Clash match or something where I don't really have to pay attention too much. But sometimes they get really intense and I can really engulf myself into it. And Atlas Odyssey thing was much more keep your focus all the time, but it's not always intense. It's more relaxing. Oh fuck! Damn. Got dung in my head. I also found a few other games that I'm kind of put in the same group of just kind of platforming-ish games, like Geometry Dash likes, where there's some music playing and you have to just do some sort of like platforming-ish things. I've watched a few different ones. One specifically is called Data Miner, I think, or Data Droid, Data Sweeper. I don't know. Point is, you just play as a little triangle. You only have two movement options. You can press to the right of your screen, or you can press to the left of your screen. And if you press right, you start turning right. If you press left, you start turning left. Very self-explanatory. Otherwise, you just move all the time forward. Like no gravity. You go through different terrain and stuff. And it's a hard game to master. There's a few different mechanics you can do. Like you have thrusters. If you go up to like a wall and start thrusting, you get a bigger like speed boost. But if you get too close, you get hurt and you bonk and lose speed. I don't know. It was a very simple game that had some complex movement tech. I don't know, man. It just never really truly clicked for me. I didn't really want to play that. So it didn't really work out either. I'm just sad because Clash Royale is kind of what my perfect phone game would be. Just like a deck building game with cool strategy, which appeared very unique. Like the way Clash Royale plays is very unique. The annoying parts were, of course, the leveling up and the different chests you have to wait for and stuff like that. But honestly, for a while in the game, I kind of had all my cards leveled up enough for the players I was in. It's only the start that's really grindy and annoying, and then I got into like almost full level gear, like cards and stuff, and I was having fun. And then they changed it so that there's even more levels to get, and evolution cards and stuff, champions or better tower cards. Just a lot more you need to get before you can play, before you can have fun, really. And that wasn't that's not fun, because the only way to really get that is by paying for it, which I already said I don't want to do. Now I might be willing to play buy a phone game. I've thought about it. I don't know why I'm so stingy about it. So maybe if there's a good game that's paid, I could buy that. And then I hope that it means that it's not monetized any further. It's not. I don't have to spend a lot of time watching ads or paying for more stuff either. I don't want to. I already feel cheap if I'm paying for a thing in a game. Like if I buy a legendary chest in Clash Royale, I just feel like I'm cheating because it's I've never done that, but I would feel like that's cheating because it's just a shortcut, really. So I always thought that's just for losers who weren't good at the game, could just buy their way to success, and I thought that was a stupid way to pay to win. But now I see that's the purpose of the game, and players who aren't paying to win are just not at all the target audience of Clash Royale. Because of course I don't earn them any revenue at all by playing their game. There's no ads or nothing. I'm just giving them a loyal player that loves the game. Not good enough. Anyway, so I've been looking for that. I haven't quite found it yet. I might go back to old games that I used to enjoy, like Robbery Bob or Bad Piggies again. I could try to play that again. Oh shit. It is really fun, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna have as much fun with it. I like how Bad Piggies is in my mind of this incredible game that I played when I was a kid. I don't want to taint my nostalgia for it by playing it again, because it'll probably just not be as fun at all. Which is sad, but whatever. But yeah, that's kind of my phone game journey I've had. Looking for it. Not looking very hard, but I'm looking for something. Got a few more options, Robbery Bob, some old games that I used to play. I also thought about playing Battle Cats. Given my little brother who played a lot on the phone. Could be good. Could be the kind of game that I want. Just a tower defense-ish game. I think balloons might be really good for that as well. I just gotta grind it more. Again, at this point in balloons, I just don't kind of. I've won a lot of stages. I just never really wanted to go further in. Like I'm not good at balloons. I'm just decent, and I've never felt the drive to get really good at it. Like learn the correct like patch notes and which towers are good for challenges and stuff. Maybe I should try that actually. It's a good game. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, enough about that. I played a bit of a dissociative identity disorder campaign. We like the campaign with one character, 3 players who each take turns playing them without knowing what the previous ones had done. And I think it just ended today. They lost. They died. So like a bit of like a recap. There's 3 different characters. No, yeah, I already kind of. I'm just gonna assume you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, well, you can just hear me ramble, which will be fun. So they were walking around town, making a lot of havoc. 2 of the players just trying to make a good life, trying to make an honest living, trying to get money. One player was just kind of chaotic and making stuff up for the other ones for fun, which is a fun dynamic and all that. The chaos player ended up just kind of completely fucking over the next player by not sleeping or eating anything. So the second player had like a lot of exhaustion. They lost all their stuff. Like they didn't really have much stuff, but they lost the rest of it, like their armor and stuff. And made some enemies. The next player I wake up, I kind of give him a helping hand by allowing one of the people there around to be helpful. He goes up to a random guard-ish guy and just start asking questions. And usually I've made the city be very hostile on purpose in order to just drive desperation, like make them make awful choices in order to fuck with each other. But this guy, okay, he's gonna be nice, I thought, and he helped him out a bit. He just said, yeah, you can get a job here if you go over here real quick, but it only happens like in 4 hours. Before that, you can do whatever you want. And my character here, my player, wanted to just eat something. He was really hungry. If he ate something, he would get rid of an exhaustion point. It would be very, very useful. Problem is he didn't have any money. He tried and failed at gambling money, like getting some money through gambling. But he did not have any money to start off with, and nobody wanted to gamble with him because he didn't have any money. They was like, I'm gonna give you money later if you win, but if I win, you gotta give me the money now. And it was like, I don't know, it just did not quite work out because, well, this town is a very shitty town. A lot of homeless people, a lot of wrenches, a lot of scammers, and the guy who was fucking everyone over, his whole shtick was that he wanted to be a scam artist, and he'd already scamming people throughout the city, so no way in hell this guy was gonna lend this guy money. Not that it was a famous scam or anything, he wasn't really scamming for a lot of money at all, but it was pretty clear for people that there are scammers in this city, and oh fuck, I thought I had more invincibility frames, whoops. Fuck dude, I took a lot of health from this fight, that's not good. Point is, he did not earn any money there, so he decided to go into the mystical forest. Ooh, the dangerous mystical forest, to scavenge some berries and stuff. He couldn't find any, so he decided to go further in. He couldn't find any because the player before him had just went out scavenging in that same forest, in that same area. So the entire outskirts of that forest was completely barren, because the guy had been like going there twice to get all the stuff there. And even then, on the second attempt, there was barely anything I would give him because he'd already scoured everything. Point is, didn't find anything, so he ventures deeper into the forest, where it's like a greater risk. I told him about there being dangerous creatures in there, but he could go in there if he wanted to anyway. And he decided to take his chances and went in there. Fuck, dude, I'm making a lot of mistakes. And he rolled a nature check. He rolled like a 5 or 3, I think, maybe 4. He had a lot of minus on that modifier. So I just like, okay, well, he stumbled into an enemy. He stumbled into like a gigantic frog, which is like the apex predator of this area. I just thought it'd be funny. Which all the other characters have kind of seen so far. This guy hasn't mentioned, like, seen any of the frogs, so he hasn't gotten any of the warnings from them. But I think he understood that it was a dangerous creature. He managed to like outwit it pretty well, like trapping it and started attacking it while it couldn't attack back, and was really getting pretty far into the skin. But he's only one level 2 player against like a challenge rating 2 creature, which I guess is really unfair. But, you know, it was in a position where it could be damaged a lot. It was not supposed to be a... I don't know, I balanced this pretty horribly, to be fair. He ended up losing to the fight to the frog. He didn't try to escape or anything. He tried to win, like kill it, which he got somewhat close to, but yeah, no, it's a horrible, horrible character build. I think probably if they'd made a better character sheet, he would have won. Because he was doing like no damage, he was like not very good HP, like no constitution. Also didn't have armor because the last guy kind of just left it somewhere. So yeah, he lost there. And now that's sort of thing, part of the campaign I didn't expect to use a lot, because it's something I use for a different campaign for different people. But I can't just plop it into this campaign because it's funny, interesting, just a place. But it was made for like a party of level 5 people, and one guy in level 2 could not handle that at all, so I spent like half an hour rebalancing that whole area. So it was kind of a pain, I don't like dealing with the stat of that kind of stuff, looking through the pre-made character, like enemies. I don't like seeing that. I just don't. It doesn't interest me. But I did it anyway, and made some enemies and found some like creatures to add there. And I think it was actually pretty well balanced because I took my time to do it. But I should mention first, I already kind of designed this area that they're going to for the specific purpose of if they found a gigantic frog and fought it, they would maybe lose. So I already planned that because I realized that in normal D&D, with just only one character, that's going to be kind of difficult. Anyone could just kind of kill you because you're only one character, you're low level and all that. So I intentionally made the campaign be about, like, in a way where not really anyone in that world wanted to kill the player. But most of them, like most of the enemies there, wanted to capture them instead for various purposes. So they basically always get, like, a safe way out whenever they got killed. They wouldn't actually get killed, they'd just be knocked unconscious, and then the next player would wake up in a shitty situation, like in a jail cell or like an evil lair or whatever. And that's the same thing for the frogs here. They're planned out to be like their job. They're being mind controlled kind of by a strange like druid, like an old hag, alchemist kind of deal, who was mind controlling these gigantic frogs to just find adventurers and eat them, and then bring them to their lair, where they gulp them up again and use them for experiment and stuff. Like, they use them to like gather up their strength and vitality, because this old hag's whole shtick is that they lost a family member long ago. No, not a family, like their husband died a long time ago. And then this hag became a hag and got an army of frog people and like through all sorts of alchemic and evil experiments and dark magic. 100 years later, they're almost conjured up like a magical ritual that will allow them to revive their dead husband, which is their whole shtick. So they've made a fountain of youth, basically. But it's like a fountain of rebirth. If you go in there, you gain a shit ton of health, and just any creature in there, dead or alive, will just become a living again. And that's where the frog brought them. They got just knocked unconscious. The frog took them to their lair, where there was like a bunch of shitty frog people siphoning out their blood and using it for a gigantic fountain of healing. The next player who plays now is the guy who's fucking everyone over, and he's the one who were like was forced to be stuck in this lair. I'd made the lair in a way that it was like pretty easy to escape. They were stuck in like a wooden cage that was almost like rotten and stiff. There were a few other companions they could team up with, but they were all pretty much just useless. They're just kind of there for giving them lore. 2 of them were completely fucked. One of them was insane because they've been eaten by one of the frogs and gulped up, and that really fucked their psychic. Like just their mind. They completely shattered their mind. Another character had been drained for the blood so many times that he couldn't even walk anymore and just kind of whisper and do nothing. But there were 2 others, like one knight creature figure who was... He used to be an honorable knight, strong knight guy, but after so much bloodletting, he was really weak. But he was there, he can talk and stuff. And there was like a little squire guy who was joining along, who was pretty quiet and scared and shit. But he could also help out and stuff. Then, frog character came in and then found the next guy for bloodletting, picks our character, because the character was being really obnoxious and drawing a lot of attention to himself. The frog character, the Froggy Ban, Glip Glob is his name, brings our character out of the prison, out the cage, then immediately fails to restrain him, and our character here can just kind of steal the spear of this like primitive frog man and kill them. It's a pretty easy fight. It's like a 1.4 challenge rating. I think it was a perfect enemy. I even nerfed it a bit. It's supposed to have multi-attack. I just removed that so it can only attack once, and that's pretty shitty. They won the fight. Cool, cool, cool. They someone escaped, not quite, because they're still in the big lair and there are more frog people out there. They figure out the whole thing about them being this being like a weird facility for bloodletting. They don't know why. He wanted us around for a bit, sneaks around, makes some plan, tries some allies with the other prisoners. Very clearly trying to betray them, and they kind of knew that in the way that he was talking, but they didn't have a better choice or whatever. Walks around, finds like a lab full of potions, and takes as much as he can carry. I'm giving him like 20 random potions, which is a completely random potion he just gets in his inventory, because his strength score was like 4, so I just added, no, strength modifier was 4, so I added like, he can add, he could have like 5 times his strength modifier, that's my reasoning. If he's a strong guy, you can just have a lot of potions on him. And all these potions were random potion table that I plan on using, but most of them were good potions, like powerful potions even. Some of them were even really strong potions. And that was like my main thing, that could buff the character in some way. They have some allies, most of their enemies are pretty weak, and there's only like 2 enemies really. And then their leader, which is a much more dangerous enemy. But they have all these potions, they have some allies. And then, my character gets caught by the other frogman, runs around for a bit, finds a room full of... Oh, so they betray all their allies, can leave them for dead, which is always his plan, I'm pretty sure. The frogman looks for him, finds him, but before that, our character finds a strange room filled with a gigantic fountain of blood, and basically like a gravestone. Within there's just a random skeleton. He immediately goes to the gravestone, looks in there, there's a bit of jewels in there, not much, just a ring and a bit of a necklace. He takes the skeleton out and starts just smashing it with his feet, just destroys this skeleton, which in lore, this is the hag's husband that they're trying to revive. Their whole purpose in this is to try to revive this skeleton with a fountain of youth that's right there, like the fountain of rebirth. My character just kind of destroys it for no reason, because he, his thing is that he fucks things up. Then the frogman hears this because he's just kind of like destroying a skeleton, like kicking it down the ground, like grunting and destroying it. The frog creature hears this, calls a guard, that calls their boss, the old hag, who then goes into the main character, like our character's room, where he's blocked the door with his spear. The hag breaks the spear open and just comes in the room. Here the character decides to hide inside the gravestone he opened up, but he already kind of took the skeleton out and started like destroying it on the floor. So it's very clear that there's not a grave, like very clear there's not a skeleton in there yet, and it's been opened. Also, forgot to mention this, our character at some point just kind of dug around a lot in the first frog guard's like corpse. Just completely bloodies his hand up for a reason that are beyond me. Just completely blooded them up. I think it was an accident. He was trying to make his teammate bloody, so it looks like they were the ones who killed the frogman. But yeah, no, he got really bloody hands. That was kind of a shtick. He got like nat 1 on not getting his hand bloody. I remember now. So it's very clearly like everything he touched was just kind of bloody, and it was very obvious that he was hiding inside this crypt. And also, there's not really other places to hide. Also, it's like an old hag, it can just kind of perceive it. Opens up the gravestone, sees this guy who's desecrated their husband. They're like, oh shit, okay, well they're obviously gonna attack. Our character then throws all the like personal belongings of the husband that were in the grave just into the fountain of rebirth, which makes some like strange light and stuff like that. He tried to show that it was magical and perhaps powerful, but he didn't want to go in there, I guess. Then he looked at the old hag and made like just kind of pissed them off unintentionally, like put their tongue out, like make a fart noise almost, and like put his hand to his ears and shit, trying to ridicule the hag. And then he got killed. He didn't even really try to attack them much. Not that it would have been very good. He never even drank one of the many potions he could have used. He never escaped out of the many escape routes there were. He went into the 2 rooms where there weren't. Like 2 out of 3 rooms where there weren't escape things, but he did see there was water leading to somewhere and there were another door leading out. I guess he didn't see that, but overall, he just kind of did some of the worst stuff he could have done in that situation, and now he's just kind of dead. There's no reason for me to argue that he somehow survived, because the point is, all the other characters are not going to kill the character. They all need people alive. This hag as well needs the character alive because they want to revive their husband. She's got to siphon out all his life force in order to revive his husband, her husband. But our homie, the character, just kind of desecrated the husband's corpse entirely, destroyed the skeleton. It's unsure if they can even be revived anymore. And then he also just kind of pissed her off intentionally. So first of all, she hates this guy. It might just kill him out of spite. You know, I could argue maybe they're smarter than that. Maybe they don't want to kill everyone. He's still more useful alive. You can just siphon blood out of them, you know. But then again, he also destroyed the skeleton that was the husband that was going to be revived. So it can't be revived anymore. Maybe I don't think it can. He actively destroyed it to the point where it's like mush. So yeah, and he also tried to corrupt the ritual accidentally, throwing stuff inside the fountain of blood. Really, the lady hates this guy and wants to kill him, and also the reason for him to maybe even stay alive, like being kept alive, has also been destroyed. So yeah, no, I think the campaign's just over now. The character died, and that's just that, you know. They already were kind of like saved, you know. The frog ate the person and tried, which was already kind of a death a different character had. But of course, it wasn't death. They were just knocked unconscious and transported somewhere else, which was planned. And then in this other place where they were captured into, then they died again really soon after. I don't know. I think it's fair. Oh my god, did I really fuck that up? Hold on. Cool, okay. It's gonna be difficult with Beast Tamer. I'm not very confident at that fight. I'm just bad at that fight, really. Horrible at it. I don't know if I can really heal there anyway. At all. Ugh. There we go. So anyway, yeah, I think the campaign just ended. I might make a presentation explaining to the other players what happened on each of their sessions. We got 7 sessions in. It wasn't that well of a campaign, I think. It was a funny concept, and there's definitely potential to make something more fun out of it. I think I learned a lot about how to change stuff for the next time. For example, like I made a lot of I intentionally made it so that everyone would be very poor and desperate, and I added a lot of interesting like strange curses and like weird like magic items that they could get, just in order to get them to be strangely powerful, and like stuff they could use that would fuck over each other accidentally. They almost never engaged with any of that, just because they were perhaps too poor and too desperate about figuring out how to do stuff. Like, they were just waking up without any memory of how they got there, and their first question wasn't, ooh, how am I gonna find this interesting magical item of this quest? No, their first question was like, okay, what did the last guy do? And they always usually have their own ideas on what to do. And then whenever they were about to get into a good spot and like trying something interesting, like engaging with my plot, I think 2 out of 3 players were really trying to just get a stable living, like getting a job, engaging with the world in a normal way. But for whatever reason, they always got kind of distracted, or like did something else instead, or they got fucked over by something. For example, like the last guy just wanted to get a job, and he was almost there, and said, okay, you have like 4 hours before the job starts. Because that would make sense in the world, because it's like they were gonna attack a settlement of goblins during the night, and anyways, like in the middle of the day when he woke up. So I was like, oh yeah, we have like 4 hours before it starts. And he's like, yeah, I guess I'll grab some berries before I go, and that turns into like the whole shebang. You just roll down low, which I guess may be like my fault for allowing that, but I don't know. Definitely made a bit too dangerous and scary of a world compared to like the main plot. Should probably have just been a normal ass world where they could have made interesting stuff happen themselves, I guess. But of course, that would not have been fun at all for me to think. I don't want to just make a normal world and act like a normal thing. I'd rather have some interesting stuff going on. I think it was really interesting, and I think a lot of stuff could have happened. It's just unfortunate that it didn't. Especially in the way they died. They could have, like, if they, for example, like drank some of the potions, they could have gotten some cool permanent buff. If they had gone into the fountain of the rebirth, they would have just become a different ass race. I think it'd be really funny. Just redo their character sheet essentially, and they also get like 100 maximum hit points, I thought, or maybe like I was conflicted whether or not I should give them 100 maximum hit points, because it wasn't like a full ritual. The real ritual would have made them immortal, but it wasn't completely finished yet. So I thought about just making them have a shit ton of HP, or give them like a whole bunch of levels up. So after this session, they would have become really powerful, and could have done whatever they wanted, really. But I guess unlucky. I don't know. It didn't. It was a fun concept. It didn't really work very well in execution, I'm afraid. Glad I did it though. Had a bunch of fun with it. That's what I'm thinking. Like, maybe I should make a presentation about what happened, so they kind of filled in on the lore. You can see how each of them fucked each other over. They didn't really engage that much with each other's problems. They have been kind of on the background. They were kind of there. I think it'll be funny anyway. I just kind of don't want to make the presentation since it feels like a lot of work. But I guess I'll do it anyway. It's worth it. So I also did write notes in order to explain properly what happened. Okay, so like recap of everything that happened. Our players take the body off of the bugbear. A noble bugbear. When they first players spawned, they were in a random strange temple out in the woods. Around them there's a bunch of goblin corpses, as well as 3 masked, like 3 weird shadow cultist dudes. They just like have a strange goblet in their hand filled with wine, and inside of it, no, not filled with wine, like that it's just been emptied of wine, and they can also feel like and taste the wine in their mouth. This here was a goblet of like the mind. There's a temple of the mind, goblet of the mind. The person who drinks this will have their mind expand incredibly and become like an incredibly intelligent dude and powerful wizard. But only if they are of good nature. If they have a pure soul, like a lawful good character, would just be rewarded. But if an evil character were to drink it, they would get cursed instead, and their mind would be shattered instead of expanded. And the lore here is that the bugbear who drank this goblet was an evil person at their core. They were not a good person, and they drank this goblet and gained a curse of like just gained a curse of dissociative identity disorder, which is what the characters are. They're different players, or just different personalities brought upon a random bugbear druid as a curse. And yeah, that was kind of, I think that was a funny concept and cool idea. And the first guy who played figured that out pretty quickly, as he took the goblet with him and looted some of the corpses around and went into the closest city. Here he talked a bit to the bartender, who didn't really know about it other than that it's probably wine, but he guided him toward a strange scientist called Aurelio, who's a bit shady, but he knows a lot about this kind of stuff. He even asked if you've been sent by him to retrieve this or something, because it's kind of directly up his alley. So our player goes towards this character named Aurelio, who may have some answers. And he does. He goes in there, meets up with Aurelio, who has some like weird eyes, like purple eyes with the runes on them. He asked him like, "Where did you get this?" Our character started lying. Immediately Aurelio's like, "Nope, I know when you're lying, bro. I can see everything. I see everything as its truth." He looks at the character as well and looks at the goblin and realizes immediately what's going on, because you can see whenever he looks at something, he just gains an understanding for it. Part of like he got like from like a trade-off curse kind of thing. He asked like a god for that power, a god which also is in that campaign they could have found, who allows like just grants wishes, but at a strange cost where they get like a different curse. So Aurelio, he had the power of comprehension, like anything he looks at he understands completely, but also he got just kind of insane, where strange voices would just kind of talk to him all the time. Every time he looked at something, the voices would just kind of explain what he was looking at, but they would also just be weird and say random gibberish sometimes, and he slowly became insane and thought that it was like, oh yeah, that's God's voice, holy shit, I'm the chosen religious figure of this world, and I've got to make experiments so that I can show God who lives inside my head, blah 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 blah. Point is, he got a bit insane, but his whole shtick is that he wants to research the supernatural in order to show God by looking at it himself. That's his whole shtick. So our character shows up, he's got a weird curse and a goblet that brought upon the curse. Or a Aurelio guy can immediately look at this and identify what the curse is and what happened. And you just kind of start laughing because it's a funny concept. Tells our character about it, I'm like, yeah, that's what happened. And the character's like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks, I'm gonna leave now. But Aurelio's also a bit of a shady guy, you know. He was kind of there to help him out by telling him, but also he's a bit of an asshole. He lured our character into his lair. Like, that's where he resided it. That's where he found them and they talked. And now that he's here, he might as well help him out with some experiments, you know. I've got this strange little portal to another plane. If you just walk in there for a quick while, I'll give you 100 gold, and you can just do that. Our character's like, no, I don't need gold. I'll just leave. But Aurelio insists, and his guards and shadow cult members also insist, and they kind of shove him towards the doorway. And after some back and forth, they end up saying, okay, you're gonna go in that doorway, and you're gonna get paid for it. If you don't accept that, we're gonna put you in that doorway, and you won't get paid for it. And he's like, okay, okay, I guess. And he goes in the doorway, which is where he gets his curse. However, this was like a curse from a different campaign. It was kind of a funny shtick. When you go in there, he gained a curse. I roll a d20, like a d10, to see which curse he gets. He rolled a 9. And I have a table for different curses, and that I use for a different campaign, a whole ass different setting. I thought it would work well. I just kind of a fun gimmick. And he rolls 9, which means that he has to roll again twice, and you get 2 more curses, which I thought was really funny, because it's like, I don't know, it's just you get double cursed, and he got cursed with the 2 worst curses there was. He got cursed with shitty eyesight, so now he couldn't see in daylight anymore. He was just blind anything there's light, but can only see through darkness, which is just bad. Like, most of the time there's light everywhere, especially in a society with other people. They need light, so of course there's gonna be like whatever. That was kind of fucked up. The second one is like turned a part of him into like a strange void liquid that was like strange and controllable. But he also lost a bit of max health where the body part used to be. Anyway, that was kind of a shitty curses. Also, as a fun byproduct, because he got technically 3 curses from this area, a week passed by while he was in that doorway. But only for this character, it felt like just like 5 minutes or something. So that's just kind of a byproduct of this thing. Again, very much correlated to the other campaign that I played. It was supposed to be Eldritch. And I think it was a funny gimmick, you know. Just a time skip and strange curses. That's funny. Week passes by. When he goes out the doorway, Aurelio is not there, because a week passed, he just assumed our character was dead and left. I'd already planned that he was gonna have some stuff to do, and at this point in the timeline, he was just gonna go on a business trip. He found some strange portal to another world that he was gonna explore, and he just decided to leave for within that time they left. Our character goes out the doorway. He never got paid for it, but there's no one to stop him from leaving either, so he just kind of walks out of that like lair. There are some people who are trying to stop him, but he ends up like just getting past them through some cool decision making and some bit of a combat. Not because the characters are like these guards are like trying to keep him a prisoner. I guess that is exactly why, but it's like they didn't know who he was. He just kind of showed up. They had no record of him. But he was clearly cursed with some weird stuff, and usually people don't get in here willy-nilly. They wanted to set him in for questioning and like maybe do some more experience on him. Again, Aurelio's not there. We didn't have him to question. If Aurelio was there, he would have just paid him the 100 gold and be like, yeah, okay, you can leave. So I guess that was just kind of funny shtick for me deciding that he wasn't there. Anyway, he managed to escape, goes to the tavern and buys a room for the night and goes to sleep. Well rested and fed, a bit more cursed, but he also understands the world pretty well. And he now learns that he is the product of a curse, and there's a Aurelio guy. It's been a bit weird. He's been cursed twice. Things are kind of going badly, but he's looking for a bright future. He's sleeping well, blah blah blah. Next character shows up, and he wakes up in this random cavern, and he's got two strange curses where he can't see anything properly, and also he's got a weird black mark across his chest that gives him less maximum HP. He goes to the barkeep, asks like what's happening. The barkeep doesn't really know what's happening either, because all he saw was a guy showed up, asked a lot of questions, and then left for a week. Then came back after the week, was going like, yeah, I just need a room, and just got a room, and that's it. So the barkeep explains this, and just say, I don't know, man, it said something about Aurelio. The guy's like, our character's like, okay, where can I go? And he's like, oh, well, the church are pretty welcoming of newcomers. They're pretty kind people. They're just a happy group of people who are helpful. But I don't go there if you're cursed, though. They don't like that kind of stuff. He didn't really know he's cursed, though. I don't think they really said that either. Just, yeah. Because it wasn't really obvious that he was cursed. You know, his most like alarming curse thing was his chest. That was like looking really weird, and his eyes were like really weird as well. They were completely inverted and black and shit. The barkeeper just didn't know a lot about this kind of stuff, so he really didn't have any reason to assume he was cursed. When he goes to the church, though, our character, the church fucking hates him and just sends him out immediately, just asks him to leave. When he doesn't leave, he's like asking, like he demands answers. Like this character's a bit of like a very assertive character apparently, who really wants to take authority and like just assumes that people will do what he says if he's assertive enough about it, which I think is a good strategy for a lot of situations. But not when you're like in this church who sees you as a crime against the God, who hates you and everything you stand for, and just kind of wants to just capture you and throw you out, really. So he comes in demanding answers, and they're like, no, you gotta leave, you're a disgusting and hideous creature, and how dare you dishonor God's creation of man by putting these strange void blessings upon yourself. And they kick him out. And then he goes around with a lot of people, like he hears a lot of people like look at him and pointing fingers at him, and because he's kind of blind, he's having trouble seeing anything. But he hears people mention the name Aurelio, which they're obviously doing because, well, he's a product of Aurelio. Aurelio fucked him over, you know. That's what happened. They're like, oh, good, like that. Is that one of Aurelio's victims? Holy shit. Damn, that's so sad and stuff like, yeah, I hate Aurelio. Other people were also victims and stuff. And so the character here realizes, okay, a lot of people are talking about Aurelio. I guess I'll go try to find that guy. And they go to his lair where there's a bunch of guards there, like just standing, like 2 guards standing in front of his lair. Aurelio's on a business trip, so he's not home right now. Our character goes up and starts demanding answers. Once again, very assertive, very aggressive. This is not the best strategy because just before, like the day before, the same guy, you know, played by a different character, just walked out of there, like snuck out of that facility and escaped, you know. And people do know about this. He has been, like, his name is definitely known. No, not his name, but the way he looks has been known because he managed to escape, which is pretty rare. And so he comes up demanding answers, and yeah, no, they're not for it. They're like, yo, are you the guy who escaped earlier? You gotta, who are you? And our character here, because he's really assertive, just say, hey, no! Start snapping his fingers, like, you answer to me! And just start, like, being really aggressive about how he's in charge, when he really isn't at all. And these characters, Kais, are like, the whole shtick of this, like, religion, almost, like, this cult, is that Aurelio is, like, this mad scientist who deals with the unnatural, has found a way to, like, access different planes of the different universes and stuff. And he takes range, like, makes experiments on people and makes rare potions and finds strange eldritch curses that he tests on people. Just hires people, pays 100 gold, which is a pretty generous amount of money, in order to like just do a random like test on them. And if this test is like lethal and kills the character, well, you don't have to pay them. If it keeps them, if like severely weakens them, or it's like a really bad curse, then you get your money. Sorry for ruining your life and crippling you, but at least you have money. And also, you signed up for this, whatever. But if the curse is really powerful and like it's actually a blessing, it's a good thing. Aurelio lets them keep that and invest the money. It's like, hey, if you want more of these powerful items, you know, hey, you might want to get more powerful. I can make sure of that. That's kind of how the cult works. They get paid for just doing his like bidding. They find people who test on, like, to see if they're like random experiments on them, to see if certain conditions, like putting this strange liquid inside a person, is that good or bad? Oh, it's bad, whatever. But what about this liquid? If you drink this potion, what happens? Oh, it's really powerful. You become really strong. Well, awesome. And they start giving that potion to other various cult members who've shown promise or like done something good as reward for their service and stuff. So my character, like the character here, shows up with 2 pretty shitty curses on him. Start like demanding answers, like telling them that he's basically the boss here. They're gonna answer him and stuff. And their hierarchy, people who are with a lot of curses, people who are really powerful, are generally the people who are the most respected because they've been there a long time and they've been giving the most blessings and stuff. And this guy with the 2 shitty curses starts demanding things of a relatively high-ranking member of like the cult. Nah, he does not take for that. He starts like being aggressive about, I don't like you, and stop fucking talking to me like that. And our player here does not listen to this. He's the assertive type, so he just kind of continues his threats and like orders, which just leads to like initiative. The guy's like, alright, you know what, I'm gonna show my power. I'm gonna capture you because you're clearly one of us. You're the guy who escaped. I'm just gonna capture you, especially because he wants to do this now because, well, the guy literally just been like, basically insulting him. Not really insulting him on purpose, but being just annoying and being a bitch. And so bit of a common encounter. There's 2 against 1. The character is only level 1, so it's really not a fair fight. And in the end, our character is just taken captive by these shadow cultists, who, by the way, were the same people at the Mind Temple, where the first guy spawned. There's a bunch of goblin corpses and 3 shadow cult corpses, because they were sent out to retrieve that same goblet in order to test it, and their end goal was to get someone to drink it and see what happens, and well, that happened, and I really was not really mad about them dying. He's just like, oh, funny, cool. But yeah, by the way, I just thought that's like a bit of a lore. They were kind of part of the beginning as well. Anyway, he gets captured and knocked unconscious. Next player, his first time playing, he wakes up in a prison cell, and there he tries to escape. He does like a bunch of strange escape attempts, like tries to call for attention of guards, tries to like create like a lockpick out of rocks he finds on the ground, which does not work at all. He does some strange stuff, doesn't have anything. 4 hours ends up passing, and really haven't done any progress. Just to show that he's kind of powerless here. A lot of hours, just a lot of waiting. Then finally two new shadow cultists show up. One of them is a snake woman, the other is like a enormous orc, like incredibly strong orc. The lore here is that the orc has just been getting a lot of strength enhancing drugs. He's a pretty low level member, but he's just really strong. And also kind of stupid. Like the snake lady has just been giving some strange like magical curses and stuff, like blessings and some like spell books to learn about magic, like the Mayan enchantment magic. They also have like a hand made of void goop, which is the same as our character has on their chest, which allows them to just kind of transform that hand into whatever they want. Kind of like Jake the dog, except they can't stretch or anything like that. Just control it. Full control of that liquid, which they use to like as a keychain basically. And you just kind of I made her have that just so that the character may figure out that they can maybe use that ability themselves. But it was in a bad spot. Whatever. The point is, snake lady, orc, strong dude, like snake warlock, strong orc barbarian. They take her character out of their cell and just walk over to the next, like a test chamber, basically. They just want to test something on him. Aurelio's not home. They're just gonna test on this guy, you know, whatever. He's just a prisoner. Let's just kind of take him and test on him, and then we'll let him go. That was their plan. Not even gonna play him, just gonna test one thing on him and just let him go. And I think 3 teams on him. They had 3 things to test on him. I don't know. I don't really quite remember. I think it was just 1 maybe. They start talking though. They get talking, and our character, the player, kind of gets on a good conversation about this guy, this like snake woman, who's the main talker. He says his name is Cugbear, the Bugbear, and that he's a really good constitution, which is a lie. He doesn't, and he's good at drinking. He's like, oh, the snake woman's like, okay, well, I have a different test for you then, and brings him into like a weird alchemy place with a bunch of potions. But the lore here is that. It's okay, I guess I should explain. The Aurelio's lair, where they are, is just a ginormous corridor, like an infinite corridor with a bunch of doors on it, at least just to infinity. And each of these doors lead to a different place in space and time that Aurelio has kind of just picked out and stuff like that. So they're just the doors into a different infinite worlds. And one of these doors that our player gets put into is into an alchemy lab, just an alien alchemy lab with a bunch of potions in there. And when they showed up to this like weird alchemy lab, they just did not know what the potions were. This was during the time when Aurelio was away, the week time, where he was going like in a different dimension, which was gonna be a matter later, where he's gonna show up with a portal from hell, and a bunch of beasts would show up in this world, and that was gonna be like an event that happened, but that never happened. They show up in an alchemy lab, a bunch of shit's happening. They want to test some potions on him. They don't know what to do yet. They just want to see what it does. And our character here does not really want that, and he tries to escape. Whole ass shebang, fights them and tricks them. He threatens the orc, the gigantic, strong orc guy, into getting really scared. He does some like really good rolls on intimidation, and the guy is not very smart. His mind is kind of broken, but he's really strong. Just kind of, he's exclusively muscle. So it works, and it's kind of a funny moment. I love it. A lot of fun. And he escapes, just barely. He's really tired though. He's damaged and shit. He leaves. He almost gets out, I should say, before he's on the door, like in the front, where there's the same 2 guards in front of the town, like the lair, and they try to capture him again, and it's really bad. Oh shit, everything's going wrong. But he cries for help a lot, and he managed to survive long enough until a guard can show up. A guard that only happened to be there because I don't know, actually there's not really any good reason why he should be there. It's not supposed to be. What the fuck did I just do? Guard's there, but I just want to give a helping hand. And the guard shows up, helps him out, gets him away from Aurelio's lair. But after that, the guard really doesn't want to help him. The character's like, oh, you gotta help me, man. I don't know who I am. I don't know what's happening. The guard's like, really not my problem, dude. Because the guards in this town are just kind of assholes. They're like the main law enforcement, and they're just... Each of them is just their own little tyrant, and who makes life generally worse for everyone. There's a bunch of bandits and like criminals and stuff. Holy fuck, that was that bad. And the guards are definitely the worst culprits of them all. So after letting the guy, saving the guy, he's like, "Do you have any money you can pay with me? Pay me for it?" I'm like, "Oh no, I don't have any money." He's like, "Okay, well, don't waste my time then." And he walks off. Our character here, just escaping the rulers there, doesn't know what to do with himself. It's late, he's tired, and just finds a random ditch, like a random corridor, and falls asleep there. Just kind of falls asleep, like an isolated like alleyway filled with trash, and that's where he sleeps. And that was kind of like the first 3 sessions. It was kind of a funny gimmick. It really sets up that Aurelio is kind of an asshole and that they're pretty poor and shit. And the next guy wakes up, and he, which is also the first guy. He wakes up. He fell asleep in a nice tavern, nice cozy tavern with a bit of money in his pocket, getting well fed. Then he wakes up in a fucking alleyway covered in trash and hungry and shit. It's quite bad. And he's got like exhaustion point as well. Yeah, no, yikes. He doesn't really know what to do with himself. He leveled up since last session though, because they escaped Aurelio's like lair and shit. And so he just kind of walks around the town and really tries to figure out what to do. And he looks around, gathers a good overview of what's happening in the town. Not really what's happening, but how the town looks and where to get some food maybe. And he figures out that there's like a fisherman hut, and you can like there's a bit of river where you can fish. And then he just goes out there and tries to fish for a bit. He spends some hours on that and he gets one really good fish. Nice catch. Then he walks through town and you're like, this is where I wanted to show that the guards are assholes. A random guard shows up and looks at the fish and like, "Hey, you're not allowed to have that fish." And our main character's like, why not? What? Do I need the permit or what's going on? It's like, no, you're just not allowed to have it. And the guard just steals the fish. Which is kind of just to show that, yeah, look at these guards, they're so awful. So he loses his fish, and then just to like add some drama for the next guy, just see a guard eating a fish, whatever. It's fine though. Our character, he's a druid. He uses a wild shape this time and turns into a bear and goes into the river to catch more fish, and it goes a lot better actually. As a bear, he just gets more fish. He's better at it, more natural instinct, and blah blah blah. Got some fish. This time he avoids the guards and finds a fireplace where he can cook the fish. That's why he met the guard in the first place. He was trying to steal fire at a fire, like a torch, which really isn't a bad thing. It just looks a bit suspicious. Like a dude just shows up to a torch and starts lighting a fire, like next to a rich building. It's like, I don't know, man. We should. The guard definitely went over there and like, there might be something bad happening here. And then he was the bad guy. Whatever. Point is, he gets a fish, finds the slums where there's a few fireplaces. He goes up to like one of the big fires, like 2 main fires, one communal one and one where there's a bunch of like big dudes around it, like more thugs. He goes up to the thug like fire, and here he there we go. Here he asks to sit here, and they're like, okay, and they he gives them a fish as basement, one of the small fish, while he eats the big one. They talk about their lives. He kind of actually befriends these people. There's 3 people. One's a human former slave who moved to this town, which is, by the way, a mining colony far away from civilization, in hopes to get a new life. He wanted to become like, he wanted to dig for some gold and try to get rich and start a new life. You know, he's a former slave. Life's been really hard for him. Just wanted to start over, and that's like a common sentiment apparently throughout the town. Our character here gets some lore about the city. There used to be one like ruler of the city called Bjorn, who was there when the people first arrived to this town, and he was like the one who basically built the town. Who was also a former slave, by the way, who built this life as a place where people could come and escape their past, you know. But that didn't last for very long, because a new ruler shows up called Olivia, who is sponsored by the world government, basically. Not a world government, like a major government, and brings with her a huge army of actual soldiers, for the reasoning that there's a goblin camp nearby, which is also where our main character is from. He's like the leader of that goblin camp or whatever. None of the other characters know that. It's only if they went there they could see that. Fuck dude, I just took 2 damage really quick succession. That sucks. Okay, huge, I can heal. Point is, things used to be good, now it's bad, but really things didn't used to be good, they're just kind of glorifying the past, whatever. You make some friends, 1 human former slave, 1 half-elf who has been cursed by Aurelio, but with a really shitty curse that just makes him lose control of his arm. Now like a different entity controls his arm. Which just sucks, dude. What the fuck? Losing your arm? How are we gonna work now? Yeah, fuck. I thought I'd die there. I guess I should have focused more, but I just down cannon 1. I'd reach the Radiance like every 4 runs. Not this run. Whatever. That's it for today. Bye.